Because like before taking the hypnobirthing class and even considering home birth, Leanna was like, wow, that's really cool. Some women could do that and like, have a home birth. Like, that's really cool.
That's so great.
No way I'm going to do that. That's really cool that they could do that.
Yeah. And then I did it.
And then she did it. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name's Joey, and this is Leanna.
Hello.
And you can't see down here, but our baby Lennon is down there, our little girl who's coming on 3 weeks old now. I guess just to start, I mean, very similar to what you guys are doing, Leanna and I took the info session just to kind of understand what the hypnobirthing class offered, and it kind of sold us on it, and we decided to sign up and take the hypnobirthing class. We took it with Amy. She was awesome. Thank you so much, Amy. I know we sent Amy a thank you because we ended up having like our dream home birth, which was very surprising because, you know, when we first signed up for the hypnobirthing class, Leanna was already 34.
Well, when we signed up for the hypnobirthing class, I was less pregnant.
Oh, okay.
Like 20-something weeks pregnant.
Okay. Anyway, we're kind of like, it was, you know, right when COVID was like, it was maybe we're going to start opening things up and less restrictions. There would be less restrictions at the hospitals. And then COVID started getting even worse again. And the restrictions stayed and even got worse at the hospitals. And we had Kaiser, and we just weren't comfortable with all the restrictions, specifically with the limited people that you're allowed to have at the hospitals. And Leanna really wanted her mom there. And so that's when we kind of started to explore home birth and birth centers as an option. And kind of, you know, we had always known that that was an option just because my sister had, you know, she's had several babies. She's had 4 babies all at home. So we're kind of aware that there was an option. And so the hypnobirthing class was kind of just help us, you know, have a little more information, have a little more tools in our tool belt to see if it was a good option for us. And
so we ended up deciding that we wanted to have a home birth, and we switched to a community midwife who would do that with us at like 35 weeks, which is pretty much like the latest that a midwife will take you. And so we had like a marathon day of just interviewing like a bunch of midwives and doulas and made like our dream team of people who would help us have the birth that we really wanted, all the while we were still taking the hypnobirthing class. So it kind of just like all came together. But we should get to the juicy part, the birth. When she was born. Yeah.
Okay. The birth was amazing. I mean, so Leanna started going into labor pretty late at night, early in the morning.
It's like 1:30 in the morning.
1:30 in the morning.
I woke up like from a sleep, like, oh my gosh, that's a real contraction. And was like, okay, don't get too excited, because the midwife had said like, as soon as you have one, like go back to sleep, because you need to just like sleep through the early part of labor. But it was impossible for me to sleep because my contractions immediately were 4 minutes apart, super regular, very intense. And it was like, oh no, this is like really happening. So I woke up Joey, and then we kind of danced, pretty much like danced for a very long time. So she kind of the standing, he was supporting me, and I was like vocalizing to get through the surges. And we tried to like not text or call anyone at first because we didn't want to be those people who were like, we're in labor, and then like 12 hours later, like we're still not really having a baby. So we were like, okay, like we're timing it, and the app keeps telling us to go to the hospital. So we should probably text our midwife. And so we texted my mom first. She came over. By then I was like vomiting, which should have been a pretty sure sign that I should have texted the midwife like right then and there. But we did, and then we got on the phone with our doula and the midwife, and they both listened to me have like a couple surges. And they were like, oh no, you sound like we should probably come over.
Yeah, that was I feel like that was, when we made those calls, the midwife specifically said, like, is she having surges? I said, yes. And she said, like, put the phone by her. I want to hear one.
Yeah.
And when she heard one, she was like, okay, like, you could tell like
Classic
she was trying,
midwife, very calm,
but like, okay, I'm gonna like pack up and head over. And we're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, because to her it sounded like she was getting real, you know, it was getting real serious.
Getting ready. And then when everyone got here, I don't know, this is the part where like Joey might have to take over telling the story, because I definitely was in like a different world. Like I was in a different mental space where like time and logistics just don't really exist. I was just kind of like feeling every surge. So I don't really know like the exact timeline of people getting here, like what they were doing really. But I do remember that with every surge, I would either turn to like Joey or my mom and like just hold on like around the neck and just stand and like rock to get through it.
Yeah.
So if one of them wasn't next to me, I was like, where'd they go? Like,
yeah. And that was things like taking the hypnobirthing class and going through some of the exercises. That's kind of what we learned about Leanna and about ourselves, and what Leanna was looking for was she wanted like affection and touch like the entire time. And so it was nice from my perspective to like know, okay, like just don't leave her side. Make sure you're, you know, emotionally supporting her and physically like supporting her and holding her. So that was kind of nice to recognize. And like, I kind of just wanted to step back to, you know, it was kind of like a far out idea for us. We had always planned on a hospital birth, and to us to come to this place where we felt like good and confident about a home birth was just like awesome. And when Leanna talks about like her going into a trance during labor, like it was like really transforming. Like Leanna has never broken a bone or anything like that. She's like, you know, you never had any experience with like deep like pain or anything like that. But like it seemed to me from an outside perspective, like yes, it looked like there was some pain in the surges, but it was like, I don't know, you could just tell she was in like a different space, and it wasn't like anything she couldn't manage. I don't know, it just seemed, it wasn't worrisome from like my perspective. It looked like she was just like handling it like a badass, which was awesome.
Thanks.
But yeah, so
then everyone got there.
There.
I had not been checked at all throughout my whole pregnancy. Like so I continued to go to Kaiser, and they would say like, do you want me to check your progress or whatever when you get to like 38, 39, 40 weeks? And I always said, no, thank you, because I didn't want to be discouraged or falsely encouraged. And that was a tip from Amy. And then, so when the midwife got there, she was like, if you want, I can check you. And I was like, okay, you can check me. You can tell Joey the number, but don't tell me, because I don't want to know. Because if I have like a day left of this, then I just don't want to know.
Yeah.
And so she checked me, and she's so cute. She was like, okay, I'm not going to tell you the number, but like for a first time mom, you're doing amazing. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, that means like we're getting closer. And later I asked her after the baby was born, like, how many centimeters was I when you checked me? And she said I was already 8 centimeters.
Yeah.
So I had gone from like 1:30 in the morning till probably like 7 or 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
I had already dilated all the way to 8. So
yeah,
that was
that was mostly just us two that entire time too, which was pretty surprising, because again, like it didn't seem like the surges were intense, and she was moaning in that deep kind of like primal thing. But it wasn't like super intense at that point. It seemed like very calm. You know, we were very calm and comfortable at home. The lights were dim.
Wasn't like the movies.
Oh, you know, not at all.
Screaming. And so then they let me get in the tub, which I knew just from having read like other people's birth stories that must mean I was far enough along that it was time to get in the water, because usually they won't let you if you're only like a few centimeters. So I labored in the tub for a couple hours.
At least a couple hours.
Yeah.
I would say maybe more, 3 or 4 hours.
And we tried some different positions in the water, and they were monitoring me and the baby like throughout the whole time. I had an IV of fluids because I still continued to vomit throughout my labor.
And that wasn't necessarily surprising, because Leanna had been really nauseous.
Yeah, I was sick for more than half of my pregnancy.
Yeah, and she's generally like,
I just
puke. And we heard that, you know, the rush of hormones and stuff, it could it could make you kind of queasy. So
the IV was helpful. They also, my doula and the midwives kept feeding me like spoonfuls of honey and applesauce, which I like, looking back, I don't really remember it giving me like a surge of energy, but my mom said that as soon as they would give me like a spoonful of honey, that it was like the next surge, I was like powerful, like given this like burst of energy. So yeah, it's nice to be able to eat a little something while you're in labor. And so I was in the tub for kind of a long time. We tried all these different positions and it wasn't really, I could feel her head. Like I could reach up and feel her head. I could feel the sac. She was born with her amniotic sac over her head still. So when she was coming through the birth canal, I could like feel this squishy little thing on her head. And eventually they asked me to get out of the tub.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that I feel like the class really helped me with, was understanding like physiologically what's happening in your pelvis and your body when you're giving birth. So when I was in labor and they would ask me to move to a different position, it sounded like not what I wanted to do, because your body is like, you know, you're pretty uncomfortable and you don't really want to like be moved around and like do all these like, for me personally, I was like, oh my gosh, I really have to do that right now. But I would remember like, no, like this is good. And they need to shift my pelvis in some way, or maybe the baby needs me to like tilt this way or do that. And like, I just remember thinking like movement is good, like do what they're telling you. And so I would like make myself listen to whatever they said. And that
was kind of, I feel like that was a big thing, because Leanna was saying like, once she got into a new position, those first few surges in that new position were pretty intense.
Yeah.
And so that would kind of like, you know, she wasn't like, oh, I don't really want to.
So I would like find a comfy spot and be like, nope, I'm just going to live here forever. I will live on my hands and knees for the rest of my life. This is great. And then they would be like, okay, we want you to try like leaning back and squatting, and Joey's going to support your back and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, but it was, in the end, it was good to listen to all that they suggested.
Yeah.
And then they had me get out of the tub to try pushing in bed for a little while. And that's where things got like really challenging for me. That was probably like hour 3 or 3.5 of me pushing.
Yeah.
So I was getting tired and just feeling like, what am I doing that's not making her come out? Like, I'm ready. Like, I want her to come out now. How do I really do this? And our midwife's assistant, they always travel in pairs, so we always have 2 midwives. She suggested the birth stool. And the first time she suggested it, I was still in the tub and I was like, no, I really don't want to like do that right now. That sounds unappealing to me. But then the second time she suggested it, I was like, get it out, let's do it. And so they got it all set up. And when I got to the stool, I think I pushed like maybe 3 or 4 surges.
Times,
and she was out. She came out. So it was like whatever the alignment on the stool really just opened things up, and she was ready to come out.
Yeah.
And so Joey got to catch her.
Caught her on a pillow. And it was pretty wild. It was just, I mean, if there are any husbands or partners on the call right now, like the most amazing experience I've had in my lifetime. It was just amazing. Just like completely mind-blowing.
Yeah. It was so cool.
And so when she came out more or less in call, which is, so she was still in her amniotic sac. So when her head came out, she was still in the sac. And then as her kind of shoulders and everything moved through, the sac kind of broke, and then just like a bunch of fluid everywhere. And this was in our bedroom, like on the floor, pretty much. But yeah, at that point too, you know, like when Leanna on the birthing stool and kind of like in the bed and towards the end of being in the tub, Leanna was like straight primal, like deep, like just awesome, just like full on like power woman, like so cool.
Yeah, I definitely feel like overall that birthing on the stool definitely made me feel so cool and like really powerful, super empowered by my birth. And like I just felt like for like days afterwards, obviously still just like really proud of myself. Like, holy shit, I did that.
Because like before taking the hypnobirthing class and even considering home birth, Leanna was like, wow, that's really cool. Some women could do that and like,
Yeah.
have a home birth. Like, that's really cool.
That's so great.
No
for
way
them.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
That's really cool that they could do that.
Yeah. And then I did it.
And then she did it. It's awesome.
But yeah, it was just like that moment was incredible. And then you get to get in your own bed and lay down.
That was
and
huge.
deliver your placenta. And
Yeah.
I did tear a little bit, so I got stitches from my midwife, which was like, she did it so like lovingly. I was like, thank you so much for taking such good care of my body. That's like, I don't know. So a part I didn't really think about before. But yeah, what
Yeah,
else?
it was just-
Then they do like all the same stuff that they would do in the hospital pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah,
Just
like
in
all the
your bedroom.
testing. We got the vitamin K shot, and took the weight and did some paperwork and all that kind of stuff. Obviously had a bunch of skin on skin time. Just being at home was just so nice because there's no, she was out, we were in the bed, we were there, like it was just.
But with that being said, I feel like we talked a lot about how the class prepared us for all scenarios. Like
True.
we had our hospital bags packed, we had a birth plan for the hospital, I wrote a birth plan for a C-section. I feel like we knew we wanted like this super connected birth, and we knew that no matter what, like you can't control the circumstances, and so we knew we wanted to prepare for all the different possibilities. So if you're like out there and you are not planning a home birth, it still would be super helpful, I think, to be prepared for like all the different scenarios.
And that definitely gave us like some confidence too, just like, okay, we have everything ready.
Yeah, because we felt so confident with like our midwives and doula and Joey and my mom that for us the hospital option was like a little more nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to be prepared, like, okay, if it is just you and me in the hospital, like we want to be okay with that too. So we like really prepared for all.
Yeah, and I mean that's what the hypnobirthing class will prepare partners for that, and you know, mom and partner for that. But I found a lot of value in the class because it helped me, you know, learn about advocating for the baby and Leanna in the case that we, you know, went to the hospital and we had, you know, we wanted our birth plan to kind of go
Just
according to our plan.
things that were important to us.
Yeah. And just make sure we knew how to advocate for ourselves.
Yeah.
That's nice.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that's how our baby was born.
It was pretty cool.
So the affirmations, I hung those like all around my house and would repeat them to myself. So that was really powerful because my mind, I'm a warrior and I feel like my mind sometimes gets ahead of me. So the affirmations are super helpful. And then also just understanding physically the process of birth. I think that really helped me. That empowered me a lot. And then all the positions, like the laboring positions for coping with the different pain and all that. I feel like that really helped me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think just generally the class gave us so much confidence. And for me particularly, it made me realize that, you know, Leanna's body knows how to give birth. Mm-hmm. And that I could trust Leanna's body to give birth and to know my space in the birthing process too. And, you know, to be very connected with Leanna and know what she wants during the birthing process and just to be there. But yeah, I would say that the hypnobirthing class it helped us kind of just learn more about each other, and learn more, you know, I could learn more about Leanna and what she was wanting as a support during the birthing process.
Also, one of the nights, the homework was, I won't give everything away, there's some surprises, but the homework was to basically like really deeply look into like our different fears and expectations and, you know, thoughts about not just labor and delivery, but like becoming parents. And I think, I don't know, I think there's something to be said about like committing 6 weeks of your time and like really putting in the time as a couple or as a birthing person and just getting yourself like prepared. I think it's just super powerful to commit to that and keep showing up, and like good things will come from that.
Yeah.